Today's video is really about the lessons that I've learned to this point and how they might be applicable if you're just starting out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the video. So let's do a little work today. Today is a long run. Gonna get out there. It is early morning in the garage, and I'm gonna take advantage of some of this nicer, cooler temperatures in just a moment here. Having said that, today's video is really about the lessons that I've learned to this point and how they might be applicable if you're just starting out. Now, I am not claiming to be an expert, so take my advice or tips in a way that suit you, and they may not suit you at all. However, this video is prompted by, lately I've been getting a lot of questions from some friends through social media networks and texts and phone calls about running. Everybody is faced with the same dilemma. Things are closed, gyms are closed, workout facilities are shut down at this point, and people have been taking to running. Now, what qualifies me to be an expert? Nothing, other than the fact that I just started running at 44, and the lessons that I've learned to this point as an early novice runner are quite fresh in my mind. And honestly, these lessons may change. They may evolve a little bit more, but for right now, these are the lessons that I needed to hear probably in 2018 when I was starting, right? Like if I had heard these things and somebody had just given me these 3 tips about the lessons and things to focus on, I think I would have started a little bit differently. Not saying that I would have been better. I had to go through that to learn these lessons, but these lessons may get you off and to a starting point that is better suited out of the gate if you're just starting to run. So this video is really made for my friends and people like me who are taking on running for the first time, right? So it is early morning, it is beautiful today, taking advantage of these temperatures to start the day. That's the first key here. I'm gonna get to lesson number 1 out on the run, and then I'll probably come back and close it out when I get back here to the garage. But I'll just say this, rationale about the long run for me, given that I'm still in a base building or maintenance phase of any of my workouts, I'm really gonna take to my longer runs being around 90 minutes worth of time or longer, and really concentrating on keeping these longer runs very aerobic. So I want to keep that heart rate below 145. In fact, I have actually not been bringing my heart rate monitor, my watch, or my chest strap with me on any of these runs because I feel like I'm able to gauge my heart rate based on feel, which has been a goal of mine for some time. So I feel like I'm getting to that place of understanding where the heart rate is, and I want to keep to that. So let's get out on this run. We'll talk then. Hey, look, and the first part of this, the first lesson learned here is really getting clear on things like aerobic base building, aerobic efficiency. And honestly, for me, it's been taking on more of the zone 2 heart rate training. You can look up a ton of information on maffetone training. Floris Gehrman has a ton of information too. I think all of that information in building the aerobic base and not getting in your head and letting things like your stats, your pace matter when you're trying to build for endurance. If you're trying to build for a faster 5K or a faster 10K, by all means, crank down on the speed. But I think a mix and a balance of really building that aerobic base is a lesson that I had to learn very, very clearly. So that's lesson number 1. Okay, so that first lesson that I wish I had learned was finding the low heart rate zone 2 maffetone training earlier. I think that would have made a difference, which that basically means getting out of your own head and worry less about your ego, because your numbers aren't going to be the same, right? You're going to be training for a different purpose, which is to build that aerobic base. That was lesson number 1, getting through aerobic efficiency, finding something like zone 2 training earlier. I wish I had known that. Point number 2. I think it's really about having an awareness to the routines, habits, and discipline that's occurring in your lifestyle, right? Like for me, so many things have changed as a result of running, and I really was more intent on thinking there was some destination to this, when in fact, there is no destination. There is only the path, right? And it was raising awareness to the things that were changing, and are they making a difference in my life? And if they weren't making a difference, what adjustments do I need to make in order to have better habits, routines, and discipline in my life? So raising awareness to things like my fitness ability at 45 has changed. It is probably better than it was when I was 38, 37. In addition, my eating routines and habits have changed. And honestly, the discipline to be a little bit more mentally tough is pretty evident when I'm out there on these runs, and I feel like my mind is ready to shut down, but my body still has a little bit left. I'm able to push through, or disciplined to get out there and run in harsh conditions. So I think understanding how to be a little bit more resilient, and all of that really plays into being aware of habits, routines, and the discipline in your lifestyle. And then the final thing with all of this has really been me as a learner. It has made me running, and running will make you more curious. And I would encourage you to pay attention to your curiosities. That's how I found things like maffetone training and Floris Gearman, or the running community, or zone 2 training. That's how I found out about hydration, proper hydration. That's how I found out about how to train properly for a marathon. Now, none of these things are perfected or intact in any way, but again, I'm on that path, and I'm embracing the curiosities that I have when it comes to running this way. So there are my 3 big tips to any new runner starting out in these challenging times. Understand that zone 2 training is going to be beneficial, and I'm not saying to do it all the time. You could, or you could mix it in there, really paying attention to that maffetone or low heart rate training. Number 2 is raising awareness to your beliefs, your habits, your routines, your disciplines, and really just being dialed in when it comes to those things where they pop up and what you're learning from them. And then the final thing is really tapping into your own curiosities. Go down the path of being inquisitive. Inquiry is a great teacher. Let it guide you. You'll find your answers, and there's no better way than discovering it for yourself. So those are my 3 big tips. I hope they help. If you're on your new path in running, I'm curious to see how these things sort of line up with what you're already thinking. And as always, I appreciate it. If you're finding value, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Peace.